Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of the Sporting Chance podcast. While you're here, check out the sportingchancepod.com for all the flyest merch and a complete catalog of the episodes. And check out Clover Creek Canine on Facebook for performance canines bred by friend of the show, Sean O'Neill. Do yourself a favor, get a lurcher, get a special, get a truck terrier, whatever it is, you can't go wrong. And while we're at it, this podcast is brought to you by A Journey with Red Tails. Order the book by author Bob Glass at ajourneywithredtails.com. And for all of your tightest falconry equipment, check out midnightfalconry.com. And let's not forget mountainstatefalconrysupply.com for your premier East Coast falconry supply store. Let's not forget your boy, my boy, everyone's boy, Seth Roy, NorthMountainGoshawks.com for your parent-reared goshawk hunting partner for the 2025 hunting season. All right, guys, welcome to the Sporting Chance Jersey Meet Wrap-Up. I'm your host, Aaron Kincaid.
And I'm Casey Everett.
Today we're joined by Tom. You know, you are the
star of the show.
This is the third time you've been on, and that's, I guess I'm trying to think of words to say this, but that's more than anyone else.
Thank you.
Friend of the show.
And for the first time ever, we have the vice president of the Falconers Guild in North Carolina, pastry chef, expert gear maker, expert Harris hawker, man of 1,000 talents, Ben Shelton. Thanks for coming on, Ben.
Woo! I don't think any of those were compliments.
So check this out, fellas. Well, first of all, see that?
New merch.
Nice. Oh, sick. They
Wow.
came in already?
I like that.
Oh, that's sick.
So the folks out there listening, Ginger merch is here, and it should be up on the website by the time this episode comes out. We've got the little, I snuck in the silhouette of my departed goshawk and red tail flying above Ginger.
It's awesome. I mean, that's pretty much how the season went.
Yeah, and that's the artist, Philippe from Our Numinous Nature. He knocked it out of the park again.
Yeah, it looks
And
sweet. That's sick.
He envisioned it as like the hunting grounds in the sky. Like, you see that? It's kind of heavenly looking.
Yeah, the streaks going up in like the circle kind of reminds me of a like the bonsai flag, like when they
I was thinking the Japanese rising sun thing.
yeah, when they crashed into when Pearl Harbor, isn't that what the flag there?
Kamikazes.
Well, that's what my red tail did. It did a kamikaze attack on the rabbit.
I mean, they all kind of did it, I guess, in their own way.
Yeah, Ginger did it on the bear. But listen, guys, we try not to get sentimental around here, and I think Casey will agree. Buying this merch, it's what Ginger would want.
Yeah, those were her last words to me.
It's what Ginger would want. Buy the merch.
Guys, yeah. Yeah.
No, in all seriousness, a lot of people reached out about this and said that they would love to get something to memorialize her. We even had people reaching out to you that just wanted to give you money.
Yeah, I had like a couple of people were like, do you have a GoFundMe or something? I want to give you money. I'm like, why? They're like, I don't know. Just like to help feed the dogs and birds. I'm like, dude, don't worry about it. Like,
Buy a shirt, right?
I mean, it was thousands of condolences. Thousands. It was crazy. People loved Ginger, man. They loved Ginger.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys. I'm ready to move on.
I'm ready to move on too, dude. And I'm trying to figure out why. Like, I don't have the lighting in this room, but I look like shit. Jeez. Is that really what I look like in real life? Oh my God. Dude.
So this is the Jersey Meet wrap up. And on the subject of the Jersey Meet, Megan took some pictures of me there with the dogs.
Great
And
pictures.
I look like $1 million in them. I told Courtney, I was like, this is what I imagine I look like.
Yeah, it looks great. They're really nice. They're good pictures.
Yeah, she got some great pictures.
Friggin'
So
stud.
shout out to Megan for those great pictures.
Shout out Megan. Okay, how should we kick this off? Well, why don't we we got time here. Why don't we let Ben give us a little intro of himself? Are you currently in a jail cell, or like what are we looking at?
That's what it looks like, doesn't it? I'm in the basement of the house.
Okay.
It's the quietest place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the wood burning stove is nice because if it was a jail cell, I could turn that wood burning stove into some kind of a weapon to get out of it.
Yeah. This is where the magic happens.
Yeah. Put like a rug down there, lay down there. Yeah, it's nice.
It's where you're praying.
All right.
Well, I mean, Aaron kind of kicked it off there. Yeah, I'm the vice president of the North Carolina Falconers Guild down here. I haven't really been doing it that long, only 5 years.
Okay.
How do you like being the vice president of the Falconers Guild?
It's amazing.
Why is it called a guild?
That's a great question.
Because they breathe underwater.
I don't know. I guess somebody in the back of the thought it was cool. I reckon. I don't know. I mean, it's the club
Obviously.
up there.
Yeah. That's an interesting name. That's a really stupid joke.
I think it's cool. I personally think that's a cool
I was
name.
just curious if there was any history behind why it got called that.
No,
Just
I don't
because
know.
it's unique to most other clubs.
Yeah, and like the PA one is called the Trust, which is interesting.
Trust
us.
A guild is a type of club or group of people with a shared interest.
Oh, that's nice.
I think it's just a fancy word for club.
So it says another word for a club, group, or society is a guild. I like a society too. That's cool.
The North Carolina Falconer Society.
That's we only have 3 clubs in North Carolina.
Only, yeah.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to start a 4th, the Falconer Society.
That's not going to confuse anybody in our state.
I think out of any state, I think New York could do with another club because it's such a huge state.
Yeah.
Casey, go for it.
No,
I was New Yorker.
I'm looking at Tom. Tom knows everybody. If Tom started his own club tomorrow, like everybody in New York would go to it.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to. Though.
He's like the prince of New York. This guy. He is.
Yeah, zero interest in doing that. Happy to support our own club.
I cut Ben off, so Ben, you're the vice president.
Yeah, I mean, this is my 3rd year as a general. No, it's been a blast. I've really enjoyed it. We've got a lot of good people down here. Met Aaron. Come on now, a lot of really great people in North Carolina, and for the most part, everybody down here is pretty welcoming and helpful. So I mean, I didn't have any issue really getting into the sport.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
how'd you get into it? Like you're just one day you're just slinging pastries, and then you're like, oh man,
actually,
birds.
It did have to do with work a little bit. I always knew about falconry for the most part. I can't say there's like one pivot moment in my life that was like, oh yeah, I learned about falconry watching a documentary or anything like that, or reading My Side of the Mountain or something. It was something I've always kind of known about and wanted to do, but always put off because it was always kind of that time thing. I don't have enough time because I'm going to college. I don't have enough time because I got a wife and kid. I don't have enough time because I have a busy job. And one day I was at work, and one of the girls I worked with was telling me about how her 16-year-old sister was getting into falconry. And she had a sponsor already, and she was going to go trap a bird. And I'm standing there listening, and I'm just like, I have absolutely no excuse for not doing it if I want to do it. So I literally went home after that and pulled out all the paperwork, got on the website, tried to navigate North Carolina wildlife stuff, and started the ball rolling and started reaching out to people. I mean, Aaron was like the first person I Facebook stalked because I was like, I couldn't find anybody online. It was like right during COVID. And I Facebooked him and messaged him, and he gave me his number, and I called him, talked to him. He told me to come to the meet, and after that, it was pretty much history.
Awesome. So who sponsored you?
Dan Cullen. He's like the Merlin man in our state. He's I don't know, Aaron. What would you say? He's not really active in the guild. He's the only reason I found out about him is because I got introduced to Fred Fogg, and he put me in contact with him. But
Dan is
good sponsor, you know.
Yeah, I don't know how long Dan's been a falconer. I'm assuming it's a long time, but he's one of the few people. One of the few people down here that has any experience working with Merlins.
Yeah. We just don't have the area to fly them, you know, and he's lucky enough to be in like the Yadkin River bottom where it's like huge cornfields with running ditches, and he has permission to go out there and fly those cornfields, and he'll go out there and just clean house, flushing ditches with the Merlin.
Cool. That's awesome. Sounds like a lot of fun. I mean, you'd be surprised what you can get away with the Merlin. I flew one in North Jersey with success.
Well, you know,
it's keeping them alive is the trouble.
Yeah,
yeah. It's just
they love them.
It becomes more stressful than it's fun at a certain point.
We went out. Yeah, we went out Monday, and actually, I mentioned you, and he said that he went up to Jersey or to New York, and he thinks he picked a Merlin up from you a couple years ago.
That's preposterous.
I don't know. That's what he said.
I helped somebody
get a Merlin. It was probably like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. I remember. I told him, get your permit, put in for the lottery, whatever. He put in for it. He got it. It pretty much.
It's a lottery for Merlins in New Jersey?
No, not for us. Well, for me now. Yes, it would be for me. But yeah, in the state, you can out of state people. It's a thing. But yeah, there's not many people that put in for it. But I mean, we trap them. You know, the guys out west that are catching with dogazas and stuff, when they see how many we pull out of the nets, that, you know, it's like they lose their mind. You know, they're lucky to trap 1 or 2, and like we're trapping like 30. It's like ridiculous. You know,
yeah, it's a small window down here. You either hit it or you don't.
Yeah, you got to hit it just right, and it's the same up here. You'll go there, and we'll just go anyway because we're all off, and you know, you'll see a couple, maybe trap a few, but if you hit it on the right day, man, it looks like it's like fireflies in the sky. There's just like birds everywhere, and it's like I just at a certain point, like we were getting so much bycatch with like Sharpies and Cooper socks, like I would just like sit next to the net, and they'd whack the net like right behind me, and I just spin around, grab the coops, chuck it, and just if you just sit there and don't move, like we don't even use blinds really. I mean, sometimes we do, but you just sit on the dunes, man, and pull that string, man. They just come through. They think they're going to snatch that sparrow or starling and fly away with it, and you get right in the net. I mean, it's so fun. It's the most efficient way to trap Merlins if you can. You know, obviously, if you don't have it, you got to do what you got to do to get a Merlin. But
use the dogaza net.
No, we use all mist nets.
Mist nets.
Yeah, mist nets. 3. Like, you know, you do once, you know, 2 sides. No, usually 2 sides. Most of the time, the ideal setup is you do 3 sides. It's like 3 sides, and then you do a lure pole in the middle or off to the left, and then on the right side you do a sparrow, a sparrow lure pole, and then sometimes we have a wire cage, and we put like all the extra sparrows in there so that it's more, you know, more stimulating for them.
We like stimulation.
Yes, we do. But so that's cool, man. That's awesome. So you had a good sponsor. Got your red tail. You got your first bird. You got your red tail, and how'd that go?
It was good. I mean, I lucked out. I got a good 31 ounce at flight weight female red tail, and we just crushed squirrels that first season. A couple rabbits, nothing serious. You know, if you don't have dogs, you just really aren't going to produce rabbits down here.
Yeah.
And then flew another female red tail. I've flown. I had 5. I had 1 this season, and I let him go. But I've always caught at least 1 red tail and kept them for a little bit. So cool. This is the first year with the Harris Hawks. Those wonderful, wonderful birds.
Yeah. And then you added
a great job with them.
Oh yeah, very good.
I guess I don't know. I have no comparison.
You're catching game with them perfectly. I don't think. There's
Yeah,
anything
caught a
to
bunch of
really
rabbits.
compare with.
How many did you catch at the Jersey meet?
3.
Nice.
2 the first day, 1 the second.
Awesome. And then the dog, you added a dog in.
Yeah, I've got Claire. Claire's doing good. This is her first season, so
Good.
Teddy dog.
That's a funny story I'm going to tell. So Ben was on my list for a puppy, and one day Teddy hit me up and said, "Do you know somebody that needs a female?" And when Teddy says needs a female, she means literally need a female, because everybody wants one, right? But so I said, well, actually, one of my friends is on my list, and I think it would be good for him. So she said, great, give him my number. So he reached out to her, and he went up there and got her, the same weekend, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, you reached out to me like on a Thursday, and I drove up there Saturday to go get her.
So Ben goes up there and he gets her, and sits down, talks to her for a little bit, gets the puppy, comes home, and probably has the puppy for like weeks. And I realized that he doesn't know who Teddy is at all. He had no idea who she was. He didn't even know who she was when he was there. And I had to be like, dude, you realize you got a dog from a legend, right? The type of a person that has people sitting on the wait list for years and years, who will, just pick and choose who she wants to sell to because she has such a demand. And he was like, oh, no, I didn't realize that.
The bad part was I read the book that you co-authored with what's his name?
She co-authored a bunch of books. Bill Oates, Rabbit Hawker's Dog?
Rabbit, yeah, that one. Yeah, I mean, I read that book because they talked about like the 4 main breeds for rabbit dogs, and I read the section on dachshund because that was what I was interested in, and didn't even put 2 and 2 together at the time.
He was also afraid to eat food at her house because he doesn't eat food from strangers.
That's not true. It's not true.
He's like, the advice that his mom gave him when he was a little kid, he still puts it into practice today. He won't eat food from strangers.
Well, I was going to say maybe his line of work. He wants to see what's going on in the kitchen before he eats anything.
Well, that's the funny part is she offers him pastries like a good host. And
he's like, what are these?
That's not what I mean. I declined the pastry, yes, but that's, I just got done eating and I was like, she offered me coffee and, we were just talking and I just, I typically don't accept food when I'm in somebody's house for the first time, so I'm not going to cram donuts and drink coffee and try to talk to you,
I will.
Yeah. I usually don't. I usually avoid it.
Same.
Yeah, customers like today, the guy asked me if I wanted water like 3 times. I'm like, dude, I'm good. All right. I can just turn the water on and take a sip if I'm thirsty. All right.
He was hoping to pay you with water.
I think that's what it was. But also, I was sweating profusely. And so and I'm like, listen, I got water. Okay. Everything's gonna be all right. Just go back downstairs.
So Ben, how did having the dachshund change your falconry?
Well, I mean, after training her, which wasn't terribly difficult, I mean, just putting her in the tall stuff and just letting her do her thing,
So you went from getting maybe 1 or 2 rabbits a year to how many? 20 or 30?
I think at least 30. I haven't gone through the freezer and counted them, but for sure at least 30. Because there was several days that it was like triples, So I don't know. But I was fortunate enough, you helped me out a whole lot, Aaron. You put me on some good spots. And when you really try to just avoid squirrels in general, and you start like just targeting, the right type of habitat, I think that had a lot to do with it too, because when I was just flying red tails, I would just go in any old growth and just fly, because we have so many squirrels down here. There was plenty of places to fly the red tail, but when it comes to the hair socks and going after rabbits, you kind of have to really do a little bit more research and do some reconnaissance and try to figure out where they're at. So I had to definitely put in a little bit more time in that aspect of falconry. The birds made it easy, but I had to put some work in myself.
Ben gets it now that rabbits are gold and squirrels are silver.
That's a good saying.
They're great quarry, you know.
You can't even go for rabbits if you don't have the dogs, though. Like I tell people here in New York, like if you don't have a dog to go out with, you're looking for squirrels, and if you find rabbits, great, you know.
Yeah.
But once you incorporate the dog, then you can actually go out, find the rabbits. And I always think that, like, because your eyes now are focused towards the ground, you know, you're not even noticing squirrels that are kind of, you know, half the time running over your head because your eyes and you know, you're on the dog. The bird's eyes are down on the dog as well. So it does become a different game once you start focusing on it.
100%. Yeah, I'll notice myself when I'm like Tom just said, like hit the nail on the head. I'll not catch anything, or we'll beat the field out, and then I start getting desperate when it starts getting dark, and I'll realize I walk past like 10 nests, and I go back and now I'm trying to hit those nests because I'm like, all right, let's see if we can get a squirrel. That makes sense. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, it's just like two different things. But yeah, rabbits without dogs is like basically like hell.
It's pure luck.
Yeah, it's luck or just brute force.
Yeah. And now if you got 2 or 3 dudes in full briar gear,
yeah,
you're in a good spot. You probably could produce some, but more than likely, it's already too thick for the bird too. Like where we went this weekend. Well, not this weekend, but Monday. It's a great rabbit spot, but I mean, it's almost too thick for a red tail.
Right.
We're producing slips, but the bird can't even get down in there. So,
yeah, it's hard.
That's a rough spot. There's a lot of rabbits, but it's rough.
It's rough.
A lot of fences too.
Yeah, a lot of wire.
So is the fences. I wonder if the fences play a role, because usually, like, I don't know, it's just anecdotal, but spots that I have that are like really good, there's usually some sort of a fence there in some way or another. I wonder if the rabbit numbers reflect the fact that the fence is there because they're using the fence on a regular basis to strip predators,
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
I mean, a hedgerow serves the same function,
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
the fence is out in the middle of a field.
Makes sense.
Old fences become hedgerows too.
Yeah, it's good. Okay, so let's thank you, Ben, for introducing yourself and giving us a little background. Now let's talk about everybody's thoughts. I don't know if you guys already got into that. I can't remember. I can't remember. Okay, so who wants to go first? So I'll set it up. So Tom's been around the block. Tom's been to a couple different meets. So he could speak to what his thoughts were, and then Ben, from what Aaron tells me, Ben's only been to the North Carolina falconry meet, and that's it. Is that correct, Ben?
Great, first time out of the state for falconry.
So what? That's pretty cool.
Period.
Really? That's correct.
That
cool.
little bit there, just in case.
That's cool. So, what were your thoughts, Ben?
I mean, it was a great meet. For sure. I mean, the hunting was great. I mean, there's no denying if you want to catch rabbits, go to the Jersey meet because they're there.
Right.
I think the tricky part would be you need to know somebody before you go.
Yeah, that helps. And then
Or be very ballsy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you just ride around and are willing to pull over, I mean, it wasn't hard finding people out in the field.
Yeah.
You definitely would have to just like impose your will and just get out there and be like, hey, I'm joining you guys.
Yeah, or just introduce yourself. Yeah, like even when I first got there, I call Aaron. I'm like, I'm passing the hotel. Where are you guys? And he's like, I'm coming. I'm going around this. And I'm like, oh, I know where you are. And I'm going. And then he goes, is that Paul Thomas and Harold's truck with the logo on it right there? And I go, oh, I was supposed to say hi to them. And then like you guys were all following Harrison. So I literally I put my head down so Harrison wouldn't see me. And I drove right past you guys, pulled in behind Paul Thomas's truck, get out of the field, right? Call Harold. I was like, oh, my bird almost just got killed by some guy's red tail. It flew over. He's trying to get it down. I'm like, where are you? Compare, where your trucks are. He's like, oh, okay, go across the field, go through the woods, and we're on the backside. And I get the guys more towards the trucks trying to get his bird down. I'm like, okay. So I just literally get out of the truck, put my gear on, start walking through this field. And it's like very thin cover, like just a field. And I'm walking through the field and I see the guy swinging his lure, super nice guy, swinging his lure, trying to get the bird down and kind of like working the side. And as I'm walking towards him, I get halfway across the field, kick up a rabbit at my feet like that was just sitting in nothing. The rabbit runs straight towards him and the red tail. I start yelling. He turns around, looks at me, looks at his bird. His bird just comes out of the tree and just smashes this rabbit like right in front of us. And I walked over, introduced myself, shook his hand, took a couple pictures, and then I just kept walking, walked through the woods, come out the other side as Harold's crew flushes a rabbit. The rabbit runs up right in front of Harold. Piper, his goshawk, rips off the glove and just smokes it right in front of him. And it was literally in a matter of like 3 minutes. I'm like, this is a great way to start the meet, So yeah, there's rabbits there, Ben. There's definitely rabbits there.
Oh, yeah.
But luckily you knew some people that were there. That helped you.
That definitely helped, going up there, you invited me, and then Aaron was like, yeah, you really should come up there. And I was like, well, we'll see what the calendar holds. And it was good. So I made the trip.
Casey invited the universe.
No, I didn't.
He said, hey, universe, come to the Jersey meet.
I mean, it looked like it. There was probably 150 people there at the banquet.
Well, first they set the tables up, and then they kicked everybody out of the room. Everybody had to collect all their stuff from because everyone's running in there, flipping chairs to try to keep, save their spot.
That's so whack.
And then they had to, so the hotel staff had to kick everybody out of the room. Or they had to add like 5 or 6 more tables to the meet, the banquet area to accommodate everybody.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great meet. I think my only flaw with the meet was that if you were an outsider coming in and you didn't have anybody to kind of take you underneath the wing and go out with, you were out of luck. There was nobody really organizing like, you go with these people and you go over here with those people. And,
that might not be the norm though, Ben, because every other meet that I've been to, it's not the way it is.
Yeah. Maryland's the only meet I went to that did that, where they were like, who wants to see a goshawk fly? Everyone's like, me! And they're like, okay, who has a goshawk? Me! And then they're like, okay, you how many can your bird tolerate? Okay, I can tolerate 10. Okay, so you take these 10. Yeah. That's how it was. And it was like,
that's kind of how we do it in North Carolina.
That's like
for ill.
Well, that's like the traditional European way, if I'm not mistaken, right, Aaron?
I don't know. I've never been to Europe.
Okay. Well, you read a lot of books, so that's why.
No, truth be told, I really don't know how they do their field meets there. But
so Ben, with that, and that's what I was telling people, because some people like I got there late on Friday. I got there like 1:30 or something, and people were like messaging me. They're like, "We're at the hotel waiting for you." I'm like, "Just 1:00 in the afternoon. Why are you waiting at the hotel for me? Like, just go out and hawk." They're like, "We don't know where to go." I'm like, dude, you could pull out of the parking lot of the hotel, make a left, and just pull over on the side of the road and hit a field. That's like the only place I've ever been to where nobody cares at all. Like, no, we had one guy in the condo, a field that we used to hit is now a condo, and he comes out and he's like, "What are you guys up to?" We're like, "Just flying birds and running dogs." She's like, "Okay," just goes back inside. That was really in like the last 12 years of having it there or whatever. That's the only time I can remember somebody saying something.
We're going to have the regional meet down here, the NAFA regional meet in North Carolina. And I'm worried that some people are going to get shot because they're going to try that shit at, spots down here where people do not tolerate trespassers.
We're definitely going to have to send out like a lengthy email on, what can and can't be done at the North Carolina field meet for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we have, purple paint and no trespassing signs down here, and it's pretty much
they mean it.
They mean it. So.
What's the purple paint? What's that about?
It's just another way to like mark your lines and
Private
to
property.
express that you don't want anybody on it.
Well, like they're just throwing up graffiti and stuff.
They'll just paint around trees purple, like a little purple, like it's 12 inches. A band around a tree is acceptable. And then you can go every 10, 15 feet, I think is the rule. Something like that. You just got to mark your whole property with purple paint versus putting up like a bunch of no trespassing signs.
That's interesting.
Yep. And it just
Cheaper and more permanent.
Yeah, because people would just pull down a sign. You know, I didn't see it. You know?
Yeah, it's in their back pocket.
Ignore the purple paint. But
some states are interesting because the no trespassing signs, they put them up and then they expire. So like if they're not dated and signed or something, it's like it won't hold up in court. Like they have to go out and like repost their property. Some states I've heard that.
Yeah, they just changed the law in North Carolina too about posted signs and how all that works.
It's interesting.
Yeah, so
I don't even want to be educated.
If you're in North Carolina hunting, you want to brush up on the laws.
No, I'd rather not.
Yeah,
I mean, you already have the game warden's property. You don't have to worry about it. You already shoot it.
I want to go back to the game warden's property next year. That place was great.
I went like 2 weeks after we did that.
Really?
Me and Bob. Yeah.
You had fun?
Sure. Yeah. Caught 2 rabbits.
Oh, yeah, that place is loaded, man. We got it. Yeah, that place is great. We never should have left there. We should have just caught like 10 rabbits there.
It was a lot easier with only 2 people and a dog.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And 2 birds.
Yeah, that place was infested. Like you couldn't. It was just too many people. Like you just move and like 3 rabbits would run out, and then the bird would chase them, and then the dogs would push one that way, and then everyone's running towards the dogs, and then the birds flying. It was chaos. Yeah. So many rabbits.
That's an anomaly down here. That is not the norm, though.
That's not what I heard, man. I heard you guys got a lot of rabbits down there.
Negative.
Listen, I saw it with my own eyes. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
At one spot.
Yeah.
Dude, I've never seen rabbit poop like I saw at a couple spots in Jersey.
Oh, it's crazy.
Those piles of rocks, and it's just like covered in rabbit poop.
It's
insane.
I
thought somebody went out there and dumped a bunch of dog food at first. I was like, look at all this old dog food, like laying all over the place. I'm like, they're like, wait a second. No, that's just a ton of rabbit shit everywhere.
It's
all over the rocks.
It's crazy down there, man. I went to a spot with John Gilbert. Shout out John Gilbert. He took me to a spot and we were going after ducks because that's just he's a long winger. We pull into the parking lot, the ground where we pull into the little gravel road. And you get out of the truck, dude. It's not gravel. I'm dead serious. It's literally so much rabbit shit that it looked like I'm not even joking. And I'm like John. I'm like, you have rabbits like this down here? Oh yeah, we got good rabbits down here. I said, so what are we doing? He's like, we're going after ducks. I'm like, all right, whatever. Caught a duck, which was cool, but I'm like, John, I want to come back down here, bro.
Did you ever?
No, because I could, but it's like 3.5 hours from my house, and it's like all Phragmites or cattails, whatever you guys call them. And it's like, you need like 10 beagles to push them out. It's like in certain spots, it's like pretty.
That's why there's so many.
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough. Like it's a lot. And there's like marshes, the whole marsh down there. So it's like, Phragmites, cover, and then like you'll just sink in up to your hip. So it's like kind of have to, it's not that easy. But yeah, the numbers at the meet was great this year, man. I thought it was great.
Yeah, even with Harrison hitting it all year, there were still tons of rabbits.
Oh my gosh.
Is that his backyard, basically?
Pretty much.
Yeah,
no,
it's just an hour away. That's why he's there 4 days a week.
He better not be. It didn't seem like he was there. The spots we were hitting, man, there was rabbits everywhere.
I mean, we hit those spots pretty hard that first day, and then we came back the second, and it was like nobody had even been there.
Exactly. It's nuts. It's
like somebody hit the reset button on the rabbits.
Yeah, and then we go right, Aaron. Remember when we were taking Sean O'Neill and his buddy out with Harrison, and we pulled in to my favorite little spot. It's just like a little hedgerow. It's like nothing special. I just like it because it's like a bunch of holes. They bust out, and it's like they run through the field and stuff. I just like it, like sentimental. So we go in there, and there's like your buddy's in there, the guy from earlier in the day.
Well, yeah, that's a funny coincidence because So the night before, I was up on the balcony at the hotel observing everyone, like the meme of the royalty looking down on everyone. I was looking down on everyone and I saw my old buddy Bruno from Massachusetts down there. And it had been years since I'd seen Bruno. So I yelled at him and I came down and we talked for a little bit. And then the next day we pull up to your favorite little spot and we see some guys out there flying a red tail. And me and you, being the adults, walked up to them, just say hello and ask them how long they were going to fly because we'd like to fly here later. And they were finishing up, and it turns out it was Bruno and his buddy from Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And who also turns out to be the guy that you flushed the rabbit for ahead of Harold's bird.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just funny. And then, but it was just...
I love that guy. I'm a big fan of Bruno.
Yeah, both of them seem like super great guys. So yeah, Bruno just seems like somebody I'd be friends with. Just very nice guy.
Yeah, he's great.
And I don't know. They stuck around for a while to watch. So, I mean.
Yeah, they hung out and watched Harrison fly his bird for the Harrison show.
Yeah, the Harrison show lasted like 45 minutes and he caught his limit and he was done. And it was like, it's just like, it happened so quick that you just like want to keep going. It's crazy.
Yeah, I get the temptation to keep going for sure, but
yeah, it's just it's hard. But no, and this year,
especially when there's nobody else to fly.
That's the problem. When there's nobody else to fly, and there's just rabbits running like somebody, and then we're trying to catch them with the dogs. But it's but so I
one dog caught one that weekend,
and that was your dog. Yeah, that was great. That made me so happy to see that. Oh, I didn't see it. I heard it, and then I saw the aftermath. But no, what I was going to say is I hope that Bruno and his buddy from Massachusetts had their eyes opened a little bit because they beat out the hedgerow. And we pulled in and I walk up and they're, I know where all the holes are because that's like one of my favorite little spots. So I'm watching the rabbits run and then he's going crazy trying to reflush it. I'm like, I think that hole right there. So he's like, we were finishing up anyway. Place is beat out or whatever he said, something like that. And I go back to the truck. Harrison gets his bird ready. I just very gently pick up Franny, walk over, drop her, goes down the hole, and 2 or 3 rabbits just like right out of the hole, and they just run out into the field, and the birds chasing them, and the lurchers are ripping across that field. It's just like, dude, like how do you not have a dog? You know what I mean? It's just crazy.
Yeah, they beat that hedgerow out, and we push 4 or 5 out of it with the dogs.
Yeah, it's like a cheat code.
Yeah, Ben gets it. We all get it.
Definitely changed my falconry for sure. I mean, as soon as I was, finishing up with this season, all I could think about was I need one more dog and another hair sock, and pretty much nothing will stand a chance.
You're gonna fly 3 Harrisawks and a cat and a cast?
Why not?
I mean, listen. Some people poo-poo on it, but it sounds fun. I mean, not by yourself. It's probably a pain in the neck by yourself.
I think if you can manage it, you know, and I think that's where it really comes into play. Is like if it's just a circus, then it's just a joke. If you're not in control, whether it be 2 or 3 Harrisawks or a goshawk or a red tail, then it shows. So as long as you maintain control, I think that's the most important thing. So if you can pull that off,
you'll have multiple rabbits squealing at the same time.
Yeah, and I think for sure, maybe with 2 female Harrisawks and the male, I might go after squirrel next season. I completely avoided them this season. I didn't encourage it. We caught 2 unintentionally. They were just at the wrong place at the right time. But I didn't push for squirrel because the one thing I've noticed is anybody that flies a male Harrisock on squirrel, it's a short-lived experience. It seems like.
Yeah.
They're going to lose a toe or get bit real bad or, both.
It can happen. Yeah, it can happen. Yeah.
The only birds I've ever seen lose a toe to a hawk have been Harris hawks. or excuse me, toe to a squirrel have been Harris Hawks.
I saw a picture of a goshawk missing a toe. That was like from Europe or something.
Yeah.
I think flying it low.
Well, that's what my thought was, or just, well, not even low. I mean, it could be low. It's always low when they get bit, in my experience. But it's if it wasn't entered on squirrels, I mean, then that just makes the risk that much higher.
Yeah, they don't know. I don't think they realize what kind of damage they can do. They just think it's something fuzzy and they want to catch it really bad.
Yeah, they need to know that it bites. That's the key. Yeah. They need to know that it will bite them.
Yeah.
Tom disappeared. I texted him. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I texted him too, asked if he was coming back. So that was going to be a huge part of this episode. Talking about.
Well, all right. So what we could do is we could do like a little housekeeping at the meet. And if any other, presidents of clubs or, members of clubs have the stats, you could always message us on social media. You can message me or Aaron. So the Jersey meet, the total head count was 50? It was 54 head taken. Right, Aaron? Is that what Paul said?
I think so.
54 head of taken, and it was like an even split between goshawks and redtails and other species like Harris hawks. So like it was like goshawks versus Harris hawks and redtails, and it was like a 50-50 split. But they didn't even factor in that Harrison caught his limit, Friday and Saturday. So that's 8 rabbits that they forgot. So the total take for the Jersey meet was like 60, whatever. 64.
Yeah. Remember the dude who caught the black duck with his falcon?
Yes. Yeah, we have to shout him out. Rich, I don't know his last name, but Rich is like the first guy in a long time, and he went to the South Jersey to the meet, and he caught looks like a beautiful black duck with his peregrine at the meet.
Rich from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
He listens to the show.
Yeah. I don't know why his name is not in here. Does he have a Facebook? Well, shout out to Rich, man, because when I heard that, I got super pumped. That's neat. Because me and John have been talking about that for years. Like, go to the meet and then just like shoot out in the morning to the marsh, like, and time the tide right, and just try to catch a couple ducks, and then go back to the meet. And it just, it just never happens. It's like a 45.
Did you catch him with a goshawk in the marsh?
I did. Yeah, sure.
It's hard for me to imagine how you set up the slip.
No, because you got to catch the tide right. Okay. So just picture a flat field, like a football field, but like 1,000 football fields worth of ground, literally, with roads and stuff like that. And then it's just little squiggly little like streams going through it. Okay. And it's tidal. So during high tide, the water level's like at the top of the grass. So you can't or the grass is underwater. Actually, I think the grass is underwater. So then you got to time the tide right. And when you time the tide right, then the water dips down below, and it's basically just like you're just jumping the ducks and catching them like right in front of you. But the problem is it's not like hawking other places. It's like they're highly migratory in those areas. And like if you like John was like, he's like a magician at that marsh, man. He knows where to step. If you don't step where John steps, you're sinking in up to your hips. And then he's pulling you out, and the whole time you're whispering and sneaking, because if they just hear your voice, they blow out. Like you'll like clear your throat, and you'll see like they'll just blow out like 100 yards away from you. I'm dead serious. So you got to sneak around, but the key is you got to know kind of where they're at and where they're feeding, or you can like try to drive, but it's really hard. But you could like try to drive and look and say, okay, they're in there, and then try to like hopefully they stay there while you get ready, and it takes 45 minutes to get out there, and then you just jump them, basically.
Sounds like a real pain in the ass to me.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. But once you get them, the flight the potential flight that you can get, especially with a short wing, it's just freaking beautiful. Like out there in the wide open, and they just blow out, and that goshawk's just cooking right behind them. It's so awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was super cool, man. That's one of the neat things about the Jersey meet is there's a variety of birds being flown.
Yeah. There was somebody flying a kestrel there that took something.
Yeah, Ian Gregg. I think he got a starling, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
One or two.
I think it was a bluebird, wasn't it?
I heard it was a black cap chickadee. Somebody told me that too. Just kidding, Ian.
Just kidding, guys. Don't call fishing game on Ian.
Yeah, it was definitely a starling, and he had the video to prove it. So, but that was cool. Yeah, that was cool.
But it was definitely one-sided. I mean, it was like 48 rabbits and 3 squirrels and
yeah,
a black duck.
I think Richard caught all those squirrels.
Somebody caught one right there at the hotel.
Oh yeah, dude. So there's rabbits at the hotel. There's squirrels at the hotel, and sometimes people get some people get all pissy about it, And I can see that because if I pull in and I got to feed my bird before I go in or something, and I don't know that somebody's flying a friggin' giant red tail right over there, and I'm like, it could end badly.
Yeah, imagine you're standing out in the parking lot talking with your bird on your glove. Harrison said that his goshawk could take a red tail.
I flew the exact same bird that he's flying, basically, and it's I got pictures of both of them with their feet locked up in a tree, and they're easily the same size.
You're just a contrarian.
No, I'm not. I've dealt with it a lot. I think
sure, maybe for a minute, but come on, dude, like a 44 ounce, 45 ounce female red tail, no way. No way.
No, I don't think so. And I definitely in a first year bird, got first year goss, but like a maid bird, like Harrison's bird, I think it'd be more trouble than the red tail wants to deal with.
That's true.
To get involved with that, you know what I mean? You have to understand they don't want to. I don't think it would end well for either of them, but I think I think if you locked him in a cage, I think the red tail would probably end up winning.
Let's hope
who
so.
knows? Who knows? But of course, Harrison's going to say that. But
so then after we met up with Bruno in the field and we flew Harrison's bird and he limited out on rabbits. Sean O'Neill's friend was there, Pat from Philadelphia, he's a high-end dog trainer. I go and I take a leak while you guys are standing around, and I come back and I've been volunteered to be bitten by a Malinois, which anyone who knows me knows I hate Malinois anyways.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you guys tried to pull that on me first because my wife finally showed up, so I was over by her car saying hi and giving smooches, and then when I walk back over, everyone's like, "All right, Casey's putting the sleeve on." I'm like, "What are you?" I'm like, "No." And then Aaron was trying to, and I'm like, "Dude, Aaron's like the dog guy, sticking his hand in holes, pulling out possums. Like that's his thing. Like it's definitely Aaron's job. This is what Aaron should do." And we pressured him into it. I
initially just say, no, I'm not doing it. Why would I ever do that? Yeah. I was like, you could pay me to do it and I'll gladly do it. But otherwise, why the hell would I do it? And so I got convinced to do it. And
peer pressure.
Yeah, just some old school peer pressure. So he pulls the dog out, and before that he tells me how to hold the sleeve. So I'm all right. Let's do it. Then he pulls the dog out, and he pulls it out, and it looks like a freaking hyena, like with the giant jaws, just snapping and barking. And I'm
Aaron. You're not setting.
Go ahead.
You got to set it up better than that. Let's set it up
better. Yeah, go ahead.
So we're all convincing Aaron to do it, and I'm like pushing because I don't want to do it. Like I have no interest in that. Like to the point where when everything started, I jumped up in the back of Harrison's truck and stood up there filming. I'm like, "Oh, the lighting's better up here," and I jumped up there. I had no shame. I was like, "I'm not." I'm like, and so he's showing Aaron how to hold the thing, and Aaron, we put the GoPro on Aaron's head, and we're getting it all set up, and then I'm like, he's got the sleeve in one hand, he's got this stick thing in his other hand. And I'm like, okay. And then Aaron's putting it on, and I'm like, my adrenaline's going. I'm like, it's like watching a UFC fight when you're really invested in who wins, and you're getting butterflies because you want everything to go well. And it was I'm looking at that, and then the dogs, he's got the back of his truck open, and there's all these freaking insanely athletic killing machines in there. And then Aaron's holding it, he's talking him through it, and then he the stick in his hand is actually a whip, and then he cracks it, and when he cracks it, the dogs go ballistic. And then I go, oh, and I jump up in the back of the truck, and then Aaron's like, you can just see he's like, oh my god, what did I just get myself into? And then also the fact that Aaron he's not a high end dog trainer, he's not training like poodles for shows. This guy is one of the best protection dog trainers.
That's what I mean by high end is he's like training serious ass dogs.
Yeah, for celebrities, like the whole East Coast, any football player, basketball player, celebrity that wants a protection dog, that's the guy you go to get it trained. Like he was telling us all kinds of crazy stories, like big names he's training dogs for. So that was part of the reason why I think we were all like, Aaron eventually did it. And he said, I do this with people all the time. This is not, it's going to be fun. And then, all right, Aaron, then you could take it from there.
So I get the sleeve on and he gets the dog out, and I'm thinking Malinois, we know what Malinois look like. He gets the dog out, and then the dog is there pulling on the end of the leash, like growling and going ballistic. And like I said, it looks like a hyena. It's got these, you could see like when it opens its mouth, you could see like the meat of its muscles, like inside its cheeks. And I 100% said, oh, fuck, when he got it out.
Yeah.
So he lets the dog go, and the dog like comes running for me, and then like then just abruptly turns and goes to check everybody else out, and like kind of goes straight for
right
Sean
towards me. Yeah, I was standing right behind Sean, and Sean just nonchalantly turns.
Yeah.
He's gonna take me back, and I'm just standing there with my phone, like, this is it.
After the fact, Sean was like, he was like, oh, I just knew that dog was going to bite me. He was like, it's just another story. It's just typical. And so the dog checks them all out, and then it like comes around the side of me and like jumps up. And Mike, our buddy Mike, who was there, he got the video. The dog like almost grabbed me on my exposed elbow.
Almost. Very close. Yeah.
So close. Almost nailed me on the elbow, but he grabs me on the arm and shakes and goes crazy. And then Pat calls him off. And we do it a few more times for good effect because he didn't get a lot of momentum on that. So he did it again, and he hit it with a lot of momentum every other time. And then Harrison did it, and Harrison said something really, he's saying something really stupid. He was like trying to talk shit to the dog or something.
Yeah. He was acting like he was basically pretending that he was a criminal running from the cops and yelling obscenities.
Yeah.
Trying to be funny.
And then the best part happened.
And then Pat, right? Is his name Pat?
Pat.
So then Pat puts the dog away, this is sleeve, and then like Zach Bond, for whatever, I think he thought we were at an amusement park. He's like, I'd like to try. Like after, and we're like, all right. So then, because this is my theory, and I could be wrong. I didn't really talk about this with Zach, but I think he saw Harrison do it and make some jokes. So I think Zach wanted to like outdo Harrison. It's like that's my running theory. So then he gets everything back out, but he was happy to do it. It was fun, and it's good work for the dogs and stuff. And Zach puts the sleeve on. The guy goes, he's like, you could yell at the dog, get him excited. He goes, oh, see that little stick there? Pick that stick up. You could use that stick to like, smack your sleeve and yell and get the dog. And it's like, it's good for them to not, see that and like not be fazed by it. That's the point. You don't want the dog to be fazed by any type of intimidation from who they're biting. So then Zach
Well, he'd be the wrong guy if he didn't want the dog to be intimidated.
So then Zach, me and Aaron. Oh, okay. So then Zach gets the stick, and then he does what I am assuming is his battle cry, like if somebody breaks in his house in the middle of the night and you see Zach standing at the end down the hallway, like what he would yell at an intruder, and what he yells at the dog, he goes, starts smacking the stick. The most intimidating thing you could think of was, Poor Zach. He'll never live it down.
So when he smacks the teeny little stick, it like breaks into like a little twig. So me and Casey are in the back of Harrison's truck, and we're just crying, laughing. Like we're just like we're doubled over with like pouring tears out of our eyes, just dying laughing.
I couldn't even breathe. It was so funny. It was so funny. And then Zach gets the dog bites it. It's all good. And then he, and then Pat took out a truck terrier that Sean O'Neill sold him and bred for him. So we let that thing, I mean, I wouldn't want to be around that thing. I mean, you saw that thing?
The common thread of all these is you don't want to be around them. They're just like high energy, intense, potentially dangerous dogs.
All of them, including the Patterdale he pulled out because we were working a hole and the dogs were having trouble. And Franny, for whatever reason, Franny, I mean, she must have flushed 25, 30 rabbits out of holes this weekend. I mean, like, no joke, like just shooting them out of holes. But when she's running with certain dogs for some reason, and somebody listening will probably know the reason, but she just like shuts down with certain dogs and just won't run or like just shows no like intensity and kind of like hangs around by my feet. And I don't know what it is. So then he goes, well, I got a Patterdale in the truck. So he runs back to the truck and the guy was like a magician pulling out like stuff from a hat. So he pulls out this beautiful looking, very, fit Patterdale. And that thing goes like starts sniffing the holes and working the holes. And we don't think there was really a rabbit in there. I think the dogs were getting each other excited for no reason, which can happen. And then, then we switched gears. We went somewhere else, I think, right, Aaron?
Yeah, we flew the Harris again.
Yeah.
Yeah, then we flew the
Harris Hawks again. They sucked it up this time.
Yeah, it was good. I wasn't with you guys for that last one.
Yeah, you were.
There?
Oh, was that the one we caught it right by the truck?
No. This was later the same day. It was
close to the evening, yeah. I flew for like 45 minutes, and then I put the Harris Hawks up, and then you flew the North American.
That's right. Then, then me and Aaron were like, I don't know how to describe it, Aaron. We were like putting everything we had into trying to catch a rabbit.
Like frantically trying to push a rabbit for her.
Before dark. Yeah, like we were just up and down those big hills in the brush. Franny's down every single hole she sees. And the bird just a couple nice chases, but just didn't make it happen.
Just couldn't put it together. Yeah.
Couldn't put it together. But she caught one on Friday, though. Reluctantly. And that's another good story because, when you refer people to buy a dog, especially from Teddy, like you're kind of like putting yourself on the chopping block, I guess. Like anything, like if you refer somebody for a job interview or whatever, or try to set somebody up with somebody else for dating, and it's like they turn out to be like a nut job, you know what I mean? Like it makes you look bad. So I referred William Wow Mo Dang to Teddy.
Wow Mo Dang.
And he was very surprised that I was spitting some verses from his music in the field. He thought he got a real kick out of that. So I referred him because I met him at the meet the year before, and very passionate, very intense, really into it. And then he said he wanted a dog. So I said, Teddy calls me, goes, who's this guy? Like she does that to everybody. Like, who's this person? Like, this guy, I said, no, he's a good kid. I said, he's, whatever. He's still learning. He's getting it. He's really passionate, really, really about it. So I think a dog would help him out. So she sold him the dog, and then I don't hear anything, and I offered him money for the dog, and it's just foolish of me because I was like, oh, he's not posting about it that much, so he's probably not doing
posting it, so he must not be doing it, right?
Yeah, which is so stupid to think that. So the long story short, I offered him $800. Then I said to him again, I'll give you $1,200 or something, dude. When he pulls that dog out, man. And we flew the North American. I mean, Ghost, that's one of the best puppies I've ever seen. I mean, just on the rabbit, on the trail, running it down. Rabbit goes down a hole, Ghost is right behind it going down the hole. Like she popped the rabbit out and North American smoked it like right next to the hole. I'm like, dude, I know I offered you $1,200, but I said, I said, I'll give you 2,000 now. he goes, no, it's not happening. So like, that dog is one of, in my opinion, I've seen a bunch of dogs run. That's one of the best puppies I've seen run ever in a long time. That's a very good dog. Like, very good dog.
I agree.
Yeah.
Good dog.
Like, I really like.
He's done a great job with it.
Can't say it enough. That's a phenomenal dog. And I'm not just saying it, that's a really good dog. Like, I want to invite Mo out to the field. Leave your bird at home. Just bring the dog, man. Let's get some rabbits to move, man. That's a great dog. So that was fun. Cause Franny, like I said, she was like kind of shut down. I don't know what the deal is. You think it's like pheromones or something, Aaron? Like the dogs, some dogs they just don't like. Like, she'll run all day with Paul and Phil's dogs. She'll run all day with even your dog. She gets a little weird sometimes, Aaron.
Yeah.
And then it was just Franny and Ghost when we hawked in the evening with the North American, and Franny didn't want to do anything. She was just kind of hanging around. So Ghost did all the work, and she did all the work, and it was phenomenal. And caught us a rabbit from her efforts. So I was very impressed with that.
And let's not forget Team Woodsedge Falconry.
Yes, yeah, they did. Yeah, they were good. They came out. Nice to have them, and I mean,
very nice people.
I mean, nice is an understatement. I mean, we say hi, we hit the field, we catch a rabbit, this and that, and then he pulls out this big bag from his truck, like a gift bag, and he comes up to me and he's all serious, him and his son, and William, and he gives me the bag. He tells me to open it. He made like this beautiful custom pillow with Ginger's picture on it. It says, I'll always be here for you, or something like, it was like really touching, man. And I'm like, man, you didn't have to do all that, man, but I really appreciate it. And it meant a lot to me for them to do that. It's very, very, very thoughtful. And yeah, they're just good people, man. Just good people out to meet. Williamsburg. I mean, it's fine. It's catching rabbits. It's just with that many people in the field. I mean, you can't, it's a first year goshawk with 1 million people in the field. And if it's not being flown that way on a regular basis, I mean, it's no fault of his. I mean, he's catching rabbits. So this, it just chased a rabbit and then pulled off, and chased a couple more that day and pulled off. And, and then we just said, William, you just got to go by yourself, man. We'll head out, just keep going. I would just keep going till dark and try to get one. And she chased, but she didn't get one. I don't think she got one, but it's fun. You just knew people that are getting into goshawk, people that are getting into dachshunds, all different kinds of people come in. And then I convinced Tom to come down, and Tom's not with us right now. I don't know where he went, but I convinced him to come down. So
for those of you who are listening, we don't know exactly. We heard a woman's voice, and then Tom looks off the screen and he looks scared, and then his feed cuts out. So Tom might be dead.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to do a welfare check on Tom right now.
Yeah, we're gonna call the police here in a little bit.
Yeah. So I because Tom, he's busy. He's got over 100 birds at the house pre-breeding season, and then when breeding season hits, there's probably 200 birds. So he's got his hands full, and he can't really go on trips and stuff that often. He's got to find people to take care of the birds, and it's the whole thing. And I told him that I'm like, listen, you got 2 lurchers from Sean O'Neill. They're phenomenal. And I said, he's coming to the Jersey meet. And it was a big secret. Aaron, you want to talk about that? Because you kind of set that whole thing up.
With Sean?
Yeah. And then then after that, we'll talk about Tom and him coming down, and maybe he'll be back by then.
Sean's living out in California right now. And
yeah,
he's originally from your area, your neck of the woods.
Yeah, he used to live 15 minutes from my house, not even.
He had one of our biggest episodes ever was our interview with Sean. And Sean was one of Teddy's proteges from back in the day. And he's known Teddy since 1988, they said.
Yeah.
That's when they first got together. So he has since moved out west, and Teddy, when we interviewed Teddy and at her home, and we mentioned Sean to her, she got choked up, I guess is the easiest way to say it.
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
you could really just see how much she missed him. So I talked to Sean about it, and I said, Sean, man, I said, I think you need to come. I think you need to come visit Teddy and hang out with us. So we made it happen. We kept it a secret. The only people that knew were myself, Sean, Casey, and Harrison.
And then I told Tom, because there's no way he was going to come. And I used Sean as leverage to tell him, you got to come because he wants to see the dogs run. He wants to see the lurchers.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of rabbits there. There's a chance we can catch a rabbit or two with the lurchers. You gotta come. And then when I said that, then he's like, okay.
Yeah.
So then he came.
So Sean came, and Teddy comes Saturday afternoon. She stays for the banquet. She socializes, and then she goes home. She doesn't enjoy hawking with other people. She'll come out in the field with people, but this time of year, she's always got puppies. So she's tied down to her home, which always sucks for us, but we'll take any time we can get with Teddy. So the plan was to surprise Teddy Saturday with Sean. And the way we did it, it was Sean's idea how we pulled it off. So Sean said, all right, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to jack the rental car up behind Teddy's car in the parking lot. And I need Casey to stand here with me as if he is holding me here to, get insurance information for Teddy. And Aaron, I need you to go inside and tell Teddy that somebody hit your car in the parking lot and Casey's got him out there and to come out. So I go in and I give Teddy a hug and I tell her, hey, Teddy, listen, I know I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but somebody hit your car in the parking lot. And she was like, what? And I was like, yeah, it's crazy. I know. And she goes, oh, and we're walking out there and she's saying all types of, I don't even remember what she's saying. She looks like she's a little steamed about it, right? But
yeah.
She's a little steamed. She's like, she was walking pretty quick out there. And she goes, where are they from? And I could see the front of the truck said Pennsylvania on. No, it said Michigan on it, I think. It was an out-of-state tag. Maybe Illinois. Doesn't really matter. I said, I guess Illinois. And she goes, well, where did they hit me? And I said, I guess right there on the back. I didn't really look at it. He just told us he hit you. And Sean is sitting in the driver's seat and he's got like papers in his face. You can't see who's driving it.
Like a really bad disguise.
Yeah. It's like out of a movie where somebody would like be looking out of a newspaper, like a private eye has got like a newspaper like peeking over it.
Yeah, it was just like that. Yeah, it was great.
And I don't even know what he says or what she says first, but his window's down and he says something. And for like 2 seconds, you could tell she didn't realize like who it was. She just assumed it was for real. And then you just see it click. And she jumps and looks and she goes, Sean. And he gets out and she's hugging on him and then when he gets back in the truck and he drives to park the truck, she's like holding her chest and she's like, oh, Sean. Like, she loves Sean. She just loves him to death. Yeah. And after hanging out with him all weekend, I get it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's a super cool guy.
He's a cool dude.
Yeah. He's awesome. Yeah. And it was,
he is so funny, dude. He's got to be one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. Without a doubt. Super funny.
I don't know. Is there anybody you've ever met that's more well-rounded with dogs than him?
No, that's like, I was just picking his brain the whole time. I'm like asking him a million questions. Like, Franny doesn't hold weight on. Like, you could and he was giving me all this probiotics, stuff like this for the gut. It could be that, like he just knows everything, It's just you got questions about dogs or you want a specific kind of a dog, like that's the guy I would call first.
And his stories are just unreal, but they're true.
Oh my gosh, man. Thinking about that kid with his teeth hanging and his tongue and his face is gone. Next week, right?
Sunday, me, Casey, Casey's wife, and Phil Aaliyah went with Sean to get some breakfast. I had to tell them about liver mush there, Ben. They'd never heard of liver mush.
Never heard of it. You don't like it? You don't like it, Ben?
No.
Not your favorite? Not your cup of tea?
I love liver mush.
I bet you I bet you if Ben got his hands on that stuff and shoved it inside of a pastry that he made, it'd probably be good.
Oh yeah, guarantee it. So afterwards, we would go to Teddy's house to pick up my new puppy from Teddy and to sit down with Sean and Teddy and record another podcast with the two of them together.
Yeah, and that was
keep
an
eye out for that one.
Yeah, we don't know if it's going to be next week or whatever, but it's done. It's in the bank, and it was. I mean, you want to hear some crazy stories, some fun stories, some sad stories. I mean, it was pretty much just like all stories.
Yeah.
Right? Pretty much. Just like how they met, had the whole interaction of Sean getting into dogs and Teddy guiding him along the way and the adventures they went on and, the good stuff, the bad stuff. It was a great episode. I mean, I was just like, kind of like, I was like there, but I was like in third person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're sitting there listening to them talk and you're kind of like, you're like viewing it from like a third angle. Like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. This is awesome.
It was a privilege for sure.
It really was. And then the jokes, because, Carl, Teddy's husband, I mean, that guy, I mean, he's not the most animated gentleman,
he's very dry.
He's very serious and stuff. And then and watched him just like give Sean this big hug and he starts busting his chops and laughing and smiling. I'm like, it was like that scene from Step Brothers, with the dad getting all excited about the other brother,
Yeah.
It was like that. It was like literally like that. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sick as a dog, years ago, I'm dying. Teddy's got to go somewhere. She sends Sean to come help me. The dog's got fleas on me. I'm sick. I'm throwing up. And then Sean shows up with soup. I eat the soup. I got more sick from the soup. He's like going telling these funny stories, and then Sean and Teddy's son are like the same age and like the same size. So they start like getting, roughhousing with each other. It was the house is shaking. I was like, yeah, this is awesome to be part of this. It was just a great experience, man. It's just a shame he lives so far away in California and, at his organic coffee shop that he owns, it's just, it's just crazy. I wish he was closer.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting out there and running dogs with him, seeing what he does, hunting coyotes with the specials and the what are they called?
Truck.
The bull
truck terrier.
Well, I think he uses the specials and he uses the truck terriers if they go into a culvert, but bull stags. That's
bull
it.
Stags.
Bull stags. Yeah. So what'd you think about? You've finally, because you definitely listened to the episode of Sean and you've heard us talk about him. What'd you think about meeting him?
I mean, he was a really cool character for sure. I mean, there's a whole lot of knowledge there, and I didn't get a chance to really chew his ear probably as much as you guys did. I was just in the back seat just absorbing, I hardly like pulled my phone out for like the whole time I was there. I didn't hardly take any photos or do anything. I was just like trying to listen and take it all in while I was up there and not get distracted with anything else. But when I first met him, it took me a second to register because I didn't know he was going to be there. Nobody told me that he was going to be there. And as soon as he introduced himself, I was like, oh, yeah, I know exactly who you are. You're the guy that ran with Teddy all those years. Because, I've listened to her interview on several podcasts and I knew about him. So, it was nice putting a face, to the name. And I would have liked to have seen him do more dog stuff, for sure. But no, he was a cool guy. I didn't get a chance to really talk to him too much. But yeah.
Speaking of like the time frame with like the dog bite, the bite work and all that, Ben, you didn't see all of the Harrison show because you had to go get Zach, right?
Oh, come on.
Are you going to bring that up?
We shouldn't even bring that up.
I was going to not bring that up. I thought it would probably just let that dog lie.
I think it just illustrates what kind of guy you are. So Ben left Zach had typical Goshawk stuff. Goshawk gets freaked out and flies off.
It was windy also. I think it just caught the wind and went.
Yeah, Zach's following it around, and Zach starts hunting with it, and Zach ends up like really far away from his car. And he called and asked if somebody can come get him. So Ben
really
just
far away.
How far was he, Ben?
5 miles away from his car. Well,
Zach.
I mean, as far as driving, maybe as the crow flies, he might only been like 3. But it took me a minute to get there. Yeah. I saw a lot of great countryside driving over there.
That's brutal.
He said he ended up at a beaver pond. I was like, oh shit, man. Come back and trap them things.
There were a lot of big fields where he was at, you know. But yeah, I mean, I guess I was unfortunate enough to be there parked near the road, so I was like the last person out. And he's calling Aaron, like, can somebody come pick me up? And Aaron's like, no, nobody wants to go pick you up. And I was like, shit. Send the person that's from out of the state, you know, to go on a wild goose chase to find this guy. And you send me a pin, which was nowhere near where he was at. I had to go on the phone and just like share him my location, and then he shared me his location. And even then, you know, it doesn't send you exactly where the person's at. It kind of sends you directions to where they might, you know, an address. So like I went all the way through like a housing development, and I'm like, oh no, he's on the other side of the field. So I had to backtrack, come back around, and I finally see him like out in the middle of probably like 150 acre field. And he's got 2 dogs running behind him, and he's got a hold of that white goshawk. And I'm like, oh, there he is. So
was he over there going,
ha? I was like, ha!
He was not going, he was breathing. He was breathing real hard because he just got done with a marathon.
That sucks.
Like, you got an extra giant hood to put my bird in? I'm like, no, dude, just throw that thing in the back. Hold it. And I picked up both of his dogs and threw one in the back and held the other one when I drove. So he was really nice. You know, it was a tough break. You know, you never know how your bird's going to react around a bunch of people.
Yeah.
You know, you get used to flying at a particular time of day every time, and then you go out there and you try to fly at a different time of day. You just don't really know how your bird's going to take that, you know. And I don't know how far away he was from where we were at. Like, does he live far away?
No, he lived. Yeah, he doesn't live close by, but yeah.
The day before, he caught 3 rabbits, so he got greedy.
Oh yeah, let's not catch 3 rabbits the day before the meet. You know, speaking of 3 rabbits and birds doing things that you're not, you know, think they're going to do. I mean, Saturday morning was one of my best days in the field ever. Right? I mean,
Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Oh, because of your white bird?
Yeah. I was not expecting her to be so on point that day.
Yeah.
So we threw up Ben's birds first at a spot that has very limited perching, and it's
Saturday morning. Yep.
Yeah, and it's connected to another section that a lot of people hit, like everybody and their mother. Like that field will get hit by like literally 10 groups of people throughout the day. Like it's like the spot. Everybody goes there. But the rabbits all, which we found out, they all run to the far side of the field, basically. And there's no perching and there's no real parking kind of. You kind of have to like just kind of park wherever. And so somebody said that's the spot to check or something or whatever. So we just checked there, threw Ben's bird up, and what did we get? Like 10 feet away from the car, and they already caught one?
Yeah, they caught a rabbit as soon as we didn't even get out of sight of the trucks, and they had already caught one.
Yeah. So
we're trying to get the dogs away from the road.
Yes.
We're like, let's put them in the field and get away from the road. And we're all walking, and then Rosa like drops off a telephone pole and nails one right out of the gate.
Yeah, that's the problem, and that was valid to get them away from the road because I've hawked that spot like by myself. You know, when I flew a couple birds that couldn't fly with people over the years, and I've just went in there by myself. And I mean, those rabbits like purposely run across that road.
Yeah,
like they just like immediately run towards the road. It's crazy. So
do they really?
Oh yeah, yeah. And I hit it Sunday evening with Tierney and Tyler Simcoe. and we didn't have any dogs on the ground, and yeah, the rabbits were running back and forth across.
Well, that was the road that the year before somebody literally almost hit me with their car.
Yeah.
That's what Mike told me. He's like, "Oh, I know this place. This is where Aaron almost got run over."
Like, and I wasn't like me like darting out in the road like in front of a car. I was like walking like across the road, and this car just like comes flying and is not interested in stopping.
Yeah, they go fast on that road, man. It's like a little cut through street, and they go like 60 on that road. It's crazy.
And then I had both middle fingers up, like saying, cussing.
Yeah.
And he just looks at me with this like blank stare and just keeps going. He doesn't care.
Guy's probably on friggin' SSRIs or whatever. He was hoping he was going to hit you, dude.
I don't know. If his T levels were up, he might have jumped out to fight me.
Yeah, well, good thing he's all suppressed, And okay, so then Ben caught one rabbit right off the bat, and then a bunch of nice chases, for the rest of the hunt in that whole area. And
yeah, they got keyed in on the dang voles, and then after that, we were just put them up.
Yeah, you can't really blame them. I mean, those little things were scurrying all day. They're kind of making me hungry, man. They're like a little snack. Just scurrying, these little chubby little hamster things just running right under your feet.
Once they realize they're there, it's over. It's like just they need to go up because they won't stop.
Yeah. So we
I know.
So we beat the field out essentially, with Ben's birds. But we said, there's rabbits here. We might as well just hit it again. So we went back. We pulled out my white bird, Helga. Miss Clumsy, never catches anything, Helga, and freaking smoked 4 rabbits. Well, she smoked 2 in like 45 minutes, not even. And then on one of the last chase, she chases a rabbit. And this is just like me and Aaron always talk about it. Like it can happen anywhere, anytime. Like it doesn't matter. And my bird chases a rabbit into like this thick. Do you know the name? Does anybody of you guys know the name of that stuff? It's like briars that's red and
that's
thick.
blackberry.
That's blackberry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that stuff is brutal, and it. I should know that. I don't know why I didn't know that. Are you sure it's blackberry?
Yeah, you look out in the field, you see that purple reddish. That's blackberry.
Okay, so it was like very thick blackberry, and the rabbit ran right into there, and the bird followed it. And I run over, she misses, and we're all excited. There's rabbits running left and right, dogs are chasing them, birds are chasing them. We tried to set up a beautiful slip from a pipe for the lurchers, and they got close, but it made for a beautiful video because it has 3 lurchers chasing a rabbit, and then the white goshawk over the heads of the lurchers chasing the same rabbit. That was like one of my favorite clips of the whole thing. And then so I go over to pick her up after she smacks where the rabbit went and missed, and her like freaking whole eye is like closed on the right side.
It looked messed up.
It looked really bad. And I'm like,
it looked droopy almost. I was like,
the other eye didn't look great either.
Well, because she was like squinting, and the other eye started closing, and I'm like, okay, we're done.
Yeah, and it's bringing back flashbacks for me. I got like PTSD for birds hitting things in the field, so I'm like, dude, we need to get anti-inflammatories in her now.
Yeah, and we need to get out of here. So then so I clip her in, start walking back to the truck. This is how you know you have a problem, and like you have a serious problem. And walking back to the truck, and we get to like the last little...
In your defense, though, she's starting to look a little better as we're getting back, and we're like, maybe she's okay. Because
she was coming around pretty quick.
Yeah, the eye started opening back up. The nictitating membrane was moving. Like, I think it was just stunned. And then the next morning, she was completely fine, and there's 0 signs of any damage at all. But we didn't know what was going on, so we just start walking back to the truck. And as we're walking back to the truck, we keep stopping and looking at her, and we're like videotaping it, looking at it, and like everyone's looking, and Aaron's like, it starting to look better, but we should still get out of here. I'm like, yeah, agreed, let's get out of here. So then we keep walking. We get back to like the last like little strip right before you get on the grass to walk back to the truck. And I just saw like one of the dogs go in there, like one of Aaron's dogs, and I just reached down like a crackhead and just unclipped her as we're walking. And of course, rabbit shoots out in the wide open, runs up on the top of the bank on the grass / like sandy soil, and she just wrapped it up like right there.
Smoked it.
And she rolled it.
She rolled it. Beautiful flight, like like the best flight of the morning. And I just started laughing, but at the same time, I was like, am I like go ahead. I mean, she was going to bait at it anyway, so why not just let her go for it? And so she caught that one. So we caught 3 in like an hour, and then I gave her a nice big crop and went back to the truck, and that was it. But like, it's just like, then the North American doesn't catch anything, but the white bird
Why
caught
you have
everything.
2 birds?
Caught 5 rabbits over the weekend.
Call you old Casey 2 birds.
Casey 2 birds, and it's just like, when one. That's why it's nice to have 2, because if one gets hurt or one starts acting up, just put it away and pull out the other one. You don't have to. I don't know. It's always good to have 2 birds, especially 2 goshawks, because, as we know, anything can happen. And she's completely fine. And I actually noticed it today while I was in the field. I was just like, there's nothing's wrong with the bird. Like, it just, you know what I mean? But it looked, the feathers were all like, like moved, and like her eye was like closing. I think she just caught I think it just smacked her in the side of the head or something.
It looked like her, like the eyebrow, or not, that upper part of the
ridge.
The ridge had like shifted down.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't look good, man. It looked so bad to where when she caught that rabbit, I'm like, okay, she's okay. But on the way back to the truck, I was thinking like, man, he might get that bird in the box, and later on we might open it and she's dead.
Yeah, which is a very good possibility. Very good possibility. Yeah, probably should have unclipped her, but I unclipped her just in case the rabbit busted out in the open.
Dude, what are you gonna do? Man,
Yeah.
I mean, your bird can die in the middle of the woods for no apparent reason.
Yeah. I don't know if it was the right thing to do or not, but
I see no issue with it at that point.
Was that when you was like, she just slipped through my?
No, yeah,
That
no.
was another time.
No,
yeah. That was when we were setting up the slip for the lurchers. There was a rabbit.
Oh
yeah, that was when you went through the pipe.
There's a rabbit in a pipe, and we're setting up the slip for the lurchers, and we put Franny in the pipe, and the rabbit shoots out, and the lurchers run after it, and then you see the goshawk flying after it, and Casey's like, "Oh, she slipped. The Jessie slipped.
She really did. No, she really did.
Sure they did.
No, I wasn't trying to catch. I didn't want to catch that. I wanted the dogs to catch one really bad. We're actually talking about maybe going back down to the area, maybe not to those fields, maybe, but just like to the area where there's a bunch of rabbits, and specifically trying to get the dogs to catch a kill. That'd be nice.
Yeah,
I still think that'd be pretty tough. I mean, even though they're the lurchers and they're super fast,
it's got to be in the right setup.
You want to get them out in open ground a little bit. You need somewhere that they can push them out and maybe be able to put them down.
It's going to be Franny. We're going to push them around until we get them in a spot where then we can set it up, because I don't think you're just going to catch one just like run. I mean, they were running around in the field all day, rabbits running everywhere. And like, there was a couple times where it got real close, but it's like, it's just, I mean, they're also puppies too, which we forget.
Yeah.
They're like a year old or something. Not even, right? What are they?
No, they're not a year. They're like probably 7-8 months now.
Yeah. They're like 8 months old. So like, they're not like keyed in on everything. Once they start looking and like watching and paying attention and understanding what's going on, then I think they'll catch a bunch then. But the way we got to get them a kill is we got to just set it up where it's just like a chip shot, where it just shoots out.
They snatch it.
And they just either we just let them snatch it right as it exits the hole, or we just set it up so that like they'll just easily run it down. The one that we flushed, really, that one we could have had. The problem is Franny starts going in the pipe, and like I'm yelling at Tom to get his dogs closer. Harrison, of course, is right next to the exit of the pipe with his dog.
He had his dog on a leash the whole time. I was trying to figure out why he had his dog like leashed up.
He has the slip leash where he can just let go.
And it just slides through the collar and it runs. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's like the way to do it if you really want to catch stuff. Because when the lurchers are running around and moving, it's like those dogs. Everyone says dachshunds are like herding cats, but those dogs are herding cats, man. Because they're like 100 yards away from you in like 2 seconds. So it's like you turn around and they're gone, and then you're calling them, and then. But it was nice because we did get all 3 of them to chase that rabbit. They wouldn't have caught it though. I don't think they would have got the time anyway. But
it's almost like one would have to be like ahead of it to like cut it off.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Pick it off.
Like if Harrison stood instead of right in front of the pipe, like if he stood like 15 feet away from the pipe with the dog facing the pipe, as the rabbit runs out, like then it could make its it could get momentum going and cut it off and snatch it or something. I don't know. Teddy would know, or Sean would know what we should do.
Yeah, Sean wasn't. If Sean was there, we would have caught that rabbit.
Yeah, he would have yelled at us and told us stop. Pick Franny up. Don't put her in there. Get all the dogs. Tom, get your dogs, and then he would have told us where to stand, and then we would have made it happen. And the bird actually did. It's not that she slipped. I go on the treadmill or the Stairmaster, and I watch like talking videos or like my own videos. And when the rabbit appears in the video, I've literally caught myself going like this with my hand. I'm dead serious.
This is interesting.
I'll watch my own videos, and when the rabbit runs, my left hand just like I'm casting a spell on somebody, or like I'm Spider-Man shooting a web. Like I just open my hand like that. Almost
you
like
see
I'm
a rabbit on TV and you're
memory.
I'm like, ho! No, I do that with my wife when we're driving and a squirrel runs across the road. Obviously, I floor it, and then I go, ho, 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 and then
I despise that, honestly.
and my wife goes, what the heck?
You
my son.
what?
Just I mean, we were out there, and it was like there were so many rabbits, and there were so many people.
Yeah.
I wish I could have just told everybody, just don't. Just let the birds do the thing. Let the dogs do their things. We don't need you to let us know that you see a rabbit every like 2 seconds.
It's true. Yeah, there was a lot of rabbits. Yeah, that's what like it was in North Carolina. It was just rabbits running everywhere. Everyone's screaming every time they see one. And
it's like when people beat on trees and stuff for squirrels. Like I hate that. The bird knows it's up there. It doesn't need you to let it know that it's up there.
They see the funniest one is when you see a squirrel in a tree and then you see another one move and everyone freaks out. They go, "There's two!
There's 2 squirrels!
Yeah. There's 2!" Yeah. Everyone gets so excited.
God forbid there's 3, man. People start having a heart attack.
Yeah. It's fun. It's fun watching some people. I mean, when I'm by myself, I'll scream a little, but like when I'm by myself, sometimes I don't even scream.
I scream at the dog.
Yeah.
That's all I find myself doing.
Yeah.
That's probably the only person that lost was the dog, because like she came home with me and I could tell she was like quasi like traumatized from the whole experience.
You get a lot of exposure though.
Yeah, it was fun.
And just me yelling at her the whole time. She's probably like, I did something wrong. Daddy's pissed at me.
Yeah. How many dogs did we have on the ground the one day? We had Franny.
I brought 5 dogs with me.
You had 5. Ben's dog was down.
Franny was down. 3 lurchers. I mean, there was at one time probably a dozen dogs on the ground. Probably.
Yeah, it was fun. It was just fun, just pure fun. Like not necessary, but just fun.
Yeah, we're there to have fun anyway, man.
Yeah, I would say that was probably like the main thing about the Jersey meet in general. It was a fun meet. A lot of cool people. A lot of A-listers, I would say, in the falconry community. I had 2 goals going up there. Like, I wanted to catch rabbits, check that box, and I wanted to see Teddy, and I wanted to see Claire because that was, a dog she bred. So,
yeah, it's good. It's always nice. And every time I run my dogs with Teddy, they never do well. It's like clockwork. I remember one day I took her out like Franny was a puppy, and Teddy just like I forgot who she was riding with, and she's like, "Can you give me a ride back to the hotel?" Can you give me a ride back to the hotel? And I'm like, all right, see you later, Teddy. And that was Zach's fault because Zach's like, I know a great spot. It's state property. And I'm like, state property? I should have known better. And we drive all the way over there, half an hour from the meat hotel. And like, it's just like, barren wasteland. And there was like 1 rabbit in like this giant brush pile. And it just was like, it was just not fun.
Well, that's what Aaron says. He's like, any like public game land is pretty much a wasteland.
Just stay away from it. Yeah. It's already beat out and abused. It's just, it's not good. But then the other thing about being surprised about birds, and I'm not tooting my own horn because I don't know, like dude, there was so much crap going on there. There was like so many dogs and people, and that white bird like didn't care about any of it.
She did not seem fazed at all by any of it.
I was very surprised by that. Like I thought she was going to take off, or like, because sometimes she'll catch the wind and like just go for a little roundabout, disappear, and then come back. And like, dude, she was in it the whole time. I was very and the North American was a complete disaster, which was the funniest part because that's like the maid bird, second year bird, and she just didn't want to cooperate for whatever reason.
You think it's just the difference of species?
It's for sure the difference of species, and also that bird, she's been giving me a hard time this year. Like for example, like I flew her on Monday, and she was lower in weight where she really should be because I'm flying her kind of heavy, and she was a sweetheart. I flew with Greg Passwaters and what's his name? Greg something. Anyway, we flew with a bunch of people, a couple people, and she did flawlessly. But then today by ourselves, I mean, she was just a nightmare, like an absolute nightmare. Like a nightmare where like if somebody saw it, they'd say like that would be the reason why they would never get a goshawk. Like just bound to the glove, hanging upside down, just screaming in the trees. But then if she's at a different weight the next day, she's like a complete sweetheart. Just sits the glove, rides it, chases, follows, trades off. It's just like I have to be like the bird just requires more. Like I got to be more precise with everything I do with them. It's just annoying. But when she
feel like there was more flexibility the first year with her.
For sure. I went to the Jersey meet last year and I flew her at like 9 something. And this year, if she's above 900 this year, she's like a nightmare to deal with. She's got to be like 880, 890.
That's pretty typical of goshawks, though, in their second season, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know. I talked to a couple different people, and Phil's dealing with a similar problem. And also, that bird was hand-fed, and so is Phil and Paul's birds. And Phil was telling me that the second season, when the bird's heavy, it gets all crazy and aggressive and annoying. And once it gets down in weight, like the bird acts like it's dying. It's like hanging off the glove, like bound to the glove, like it's just it looks like it's dying, but when you feel its keel, it's like fat. So it's like, it's just the bad behaviors are.
I don't like the hand feeding concept, but I don't really know what I'm talking about. I can fully admit that.
The concept makes sense that you're only rewarding or hand feeding when the bird is exhibiting a static, calm behavior. And you're not feeding if it's doing anything that you don't like, even from the size of, a chick standing. If it's peeping, if it's making noise, if it's looking at you in your face, you don't hand feed. If it's sitting there calmly, quietly, just laying in the box, laying in the nest, then you hand feed it. Then you give it a tidbit. Like that's the concept, is like you basically teach it from a young age that acting loud, or you basically go against the biology. Screaming, calling, being aggressive, that's all things that they would do in the wild to get what they want from the parents or whatever.
Doesn't seem like long term it worked out in your favor, though.
It didn't, but at the same time, I probably didn't do it to the level that you're supposed to. Do it correctly is like a full-time job. Like where you're constantly like, and I've seen and heard and seen videos, and there's videos of guys that do it. And like, when your bird comes out of, the bird would come out of hack and land on the ground, and you could tell they want to get crazy to try to get the food, but they run up to the guy's feet. This video was on NAFEC somewhere. It runs up to the guy's feet and like literally like lays down at his feet and like lays there and looks up at him quietly. And it's like, it's peeping. And then finally it goes quiet, and then he gives it its food. So like you can do it. There's just, you have to be like on top of it, like every second. And I don't think I'd
be better than you.
But yeah, you gotta be better than me. So I don't know if I'll do it again. If I pull a Tiercel this year, I'll probably do it, but I don't know. With a Tiercel, I would do it, but I don't think I'll do it again with another female. First year, she was flawless, though. I had no problems with her first year. She was great.
I guess Tom. What'd you say, Ben?
It was definitely cool seeing the goshawks fly. I mean, I can see the lure.
Yeah.
Of the goshawk.
Ben was with me when my goshawk died. Did you ever see my bird last season, Ben?
No, not in person.
I figure you're like one of the only people that didn't see her last season. I flew with a bunch of people last season. But
bird was a beast.
She was a great bird. So I guess Tom's not coming back. So
he just texted me. He said the beagle got out of the yard and was like running through the neighborhood. So he had to just like jump off and run to go get her.
Is he coming back, or?
I just said, we're still on if you want to come back, but I don't know if he's going to or not, but yeah, there's a hilarious story with Tom. I told him he could stay in my room. You know, my wife was coming down on Saturday. I got a room with 2 beds. I said, you know, Tom, you could sleep in the extra bed on Friday, but then you got to get out for Saturday. And then, you know, and then I figured if somebody else wanted to stay, you know, another night, they could crash in, you know, the other bed. I just got 2 beds just to, you know, whatever, to be nice. And then Tom, whatever. If Tom comes back on, we'll tell the story, but it's a hilarious story. It's so funny. It's so funny. It's so funny. It's so funny.
I think you ought to just tell it. If he comes back, we'll talk more about it. But
okay, so Friday night, Tom rolls in. He puts his stuff in the room. I gave him the extra card to get in the room. I said, "You go put your stuff in." And you know, so then we're all hanging out. We're all drinking. You know, typical falconer meet, having a good time. And then I'm like, all right, listen, I want to be up in the morning. I'm like, you know, I'm there to hawk. So I'm like, I'm going up to bed. So I'll see you guys in the morning. And Tom's like lit. Tom's like having a good time. Like he's lit up. Like he's freaking chit chatting with everybody. He's making friends all over the place. He's there to have fun, you know? So then I say, all right, I'm going to bed, you know, whatever. And I told Tommy, I'll try to keep it down when you come in or whatever. He's like, yeah, okay, cool. And so I go up, I go to bed. It's like 11:30 when I go to bed, 11:45. Dude, I'm laying on my stomach. 1:30 in the morning, the door just flies open. Boom! Against the door. I jump, like I flinch, but I'm like, all right, I'll just pretend like I'm still sleeping. I'm not, you know, I don't want to talk. I'm tired, you know? And then the door just slams closed, and then I don't hear or see anything. And I'm just laying on my stomach, and the light from the hallway comes under the door pretty bright, so you can see. I just see like a shadow standing, like, you know. And then the shadow just like starts coming into like the room, you know, because like a little hallway and the bathroom's on the left, and then like, you know. And I kind of like look over I'm still trying to like pretend to be sleeping, you know, because I don't want to talk and I'm tired, and I just see Tom just like like walking, just clearly drunk. You know, he had a good time downstairs, and he's just walking to the, you know, to his side of the bed, and you know, and he's making like mad noise, like he's like dropping stuff, he's like knocking stuff over, and I'm like, all right, I'm still gonna pretend to be asleep. But when he falls face first into the corner of the room and takes half the lamp, all the shit falls down with him, like, all right, I have to address this now. So I look over my shoulder, like I'm laying on my stomach, right? And I'm facing the back of the, you know, he's behind the, you know, the base of the other bed. And I'm laying on my stomach looking in his direction. And I'm like, yo, you good, bro? You good? No answer whatsoever. Just immediately starts taking all his clothes off. I go, okay. And I roll over and put my head the other direction. And then Brandy's in the bathroom in the crate. And and then the bathroom door, boom. Door slams, and I just hear the water running, and the water's running for like an hour, like literally an hour. It's running, and then there's just like noises, and like I think he slips at one point, like, and like stands up, and I'm like, he's like, the bathroom is right on the other side of the wall where I'm laying, so I can hear everything. And then I guess at some point he decided he wanted to take a bath, so then I start hearing the water, and then he slips and slides in the water. And then the water's still running. I'm like, oh my God, I hope it doesn't flood out the place. And then he's just like making noise. It's like splash around. Then the water goes off. This is like 2:30 in the morning, by the way. I'm like not sleeping. And then the water, like I could hear the water. I could hear him moving every now and then. And then at one point he just started, he's I'm like, all right. And I didn't hear the water. You know, I didn't hear the water making any noise. So I'm like, all right, he's not doing what he just was like drunk, you know, he's just drunk laying there. He's probably not feeling good. So, dude, then like 30 minutes goes by. I start dozing off. Then I wake up at like 3:30 in the morning. It's dead silent. I look over at the bed. There's nobody in the bed. And I'm like, fuck, yo, he drowned, dude. I'm like, he drowned in the bathtub. So I get up. Man, I'm tired. I get up. I knock on the door. Yo, you good? No noise. Nothing. dead silent. You can hear a pin drop. I open the door's not locked. I open the door a little bit. It's pitch black in there. There's no noise, no nothing. I'm like, I'm not going. I shut the door. So I start texting Paul and Phil. I'm like, yo, Tom's super. I'm like, I start trying to cover my ass, like dead. You know what I mean? like, your friend was dying in the bathtub and you did nothing. Like, I'm picturing the whole thing. So I'm like, yo, Tom's like super drunk. Like, I don't know what to do. They're like, oh, that's, they don't even answer for 3:30 in the morning. And so I go lay back down in bed and I don't hear anything else. And I end up, dude, I wake up in the morning, like 5 or something. Like, I'm like not sleeping. I'm like half in and out. And I just look over to the bed and I just see Tom laying face down in the bed wearing all of my clothes. He's got my sweater on that I'm going to wear to the banquet. He's got my pants on, everything. And I go, and then like, I just like, oh, God. So I go back to sleep. The alarm goes off like an hour later, like 7 in the morning. Tom just jumps up. Oh, shit. Takes my clothes off, puts his clothes on. Yo, bro, we going to go hawking? You good? I'm like, yeah, man, I'll be up. just freaking walks out the door, chipper, like a freaking whistling. I'm like, what the fuck, bro? I'm like, how does this guy, like, I would be done, bro. I would not get up. I'm like, it was so funny. And Tom told me, he said, dude, he's like, I'm going to have fun at the meet. I'm like, dude, we all have fun at the meet. Have at it.
He's like, no, I'm going to have fun.
Yeah, that's what he's like. He's like, no, you don't understand. Once I get going, I get going and I don't stop. I'm like, bro, I'm the same way, dude. Don't challenge me, bro. Meanwhile, I'm like in bed at 11:30 asleep. Oh, it was just so funny. And like the whole situation, it was just, so basically I didn't sleep at all. And we ended up having an awesome day. And, but
he
yeah,
didn't look phased at all.
What?
He didn't look phased at all on Saturday.
Dude, he looked completely fine. I'm like, Tom, how are you like just, there's literally nothing, like zero signs of anything, just like completely fine. I'm like, I would not be able to function right now.
He's over there cool as a cucumber. He's got his sunglasses on. He's fucking smoking cigs on the tailgate of the truck.
He was
ready to rock and roll.
I could tell he was feeling it. Like he was, I could tell he was, yeah. But so the Friday, I told him, I was like, yeah, man, if since Casey's wife's coming Saturday, you can just crash in my room. I got a pull-out couch in there you can stay on. And then when you told me the story, I'm like, oh, fuck.
You're like, no.
I was like, oh, God, because I'm going to have to get up early Sunday and drive to Delaware for Teddy and Sean. I was like, oh, no, Tom is going to get lit and it's going to be wild. And I was like, I don't know. Maybe he might just go home or something. And then later on that day, he goes, hey, Aaron, you still cool to let me crash in your room?
You're like, what? You're like, what? And
I was like, away. Of course, man, of course. And the whole time I'm like, oh, God, dear God, please don't drink. Please don't drink. Please don't drink.
Yeah.
And then sure as shit, that evening, I see Tom with a drink. And I'm like, oh, no.
It was great.
And I think he got the party out of him on Friday night because he had, he had some drinks. He stayed up late, but he wasn't tore up like he was Friday.
Yeah.
And dude, Friday, I was tore up too.
You were?
I had too much on Friday.
I barely drank. And then when we came back to the hotel on Saturday, I didn't eat the whole day. And then I see you two at the bar getting drinks. I'm like, what are we getting? So then I got one and I pounded the one drink, dude. One drink, I was tipsy. I didn't eat all day. And I'm talking to a couple guys down at the bottom, and I'm like, dude, I'm like drunk already. And I'm like saying crazy. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta take it easy. But yeah, it was good. It was good. And usually it's the other way around, dude. The one year I was so drunk, dude, I not like blackout drunk, but I was so tipsy that I got up to go to the bathroom one year during the guest speaker. And like I walked into the wall. Like I opened the door to walk out, but I walked into the other door because it was still closed, and I smashed it, and everybody turns around, and I was like, oh, sorry. Like usually it's me,
Yeah, you were on your best behavior. Ben, I don't think you had anything, did you?
When?
Any
Saturday
night?
night?
Did you have a couple drinks?
I had a couple cocktails at the banquet, but I was still recovering from that little stomach bug from like Wednesday evening. So I was like on.
That's right.
I was trying to get through Friday and Saturday.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I've been there.
Shout out to your wingman, Mike.
Mike's the best. That's your wingman. That's everybody's wingman. Mike's the best.
Well, he was Ben's wingman that weekend. I saw him running around helping round up your dog, and yeah, he's the man.
Oh yeah, he was. It was nice having him. It'd have been a long trip solo from North Carolina up there.
Yeah.
So having him there was nice, and
yeah, he's last year he came with me and he helped. I had a freaking blowout on the way there or on the way back.
Really?
And, yeah. And he changed it for me. I'm like, it's a one-person job, and he knew exactly, like, because the newer trucks, it's like an electric thing that to lower the tire and all.
Yeah.
I've never done that before. I've just done the old school,
You crank it.
Crawl underneath and crank it out, Ben style. And Mike knew what he was doing, so he just whipped it out. So shout out to Mike.
Yeah, Mike's the best, man. Mike, like everybody needs a Mike in the field.
Yeah.
Like he's watching your dogs for you. He's trying to help you. He's just like one of the best dudes ever, man.
Yeah.
Mike's such a good dude.
Positive, helpful, funny,
always positive.
Cool.
Yeah, good dude, man. Doesn't get any better. That's like everybody in North Carolina, man. When I was down there, everybody was just so nice and kind. That's why next year I'm definitely.
We'll have to. Me and Ben will have to introduce you to the other group.
Oh, that'll be fun.
The not nice crew. We don't have any of those.
We know who I'm talking about.
We don't have any of those.
Sure, we don't. So, guys, anything else about the Jersey wrap up? I think we summarized it fairly well.
Yeah, I think it was good. I feel like the story was funnier when I told it the next day when it was fresh in my mind.
I mean,
it was funny when Aaron told it to me.
Oh, it was just funny. It was just so funny. It was just hilarious. And I'm like, but like the emotions is what makes it funny. Because I'm like, oh, he's dead. I'm like, it's so quiet. I'm like, he's dead. Oh no! And I'm thinking there's gonna be like a pale body in the bathtub, like all scared. He's terrified.
He was in the bathroom with him the whole time.
Yeah, the whole night.
That's probably why she was shut down on Saturday. She didn't do anything.
She saw Tom naked and she was traumatized
from the whole experience.
What makes it so funny is it's Tom. That's what makes it so funny.
Yeah, and that's what makes it, because Tom is like so professional, and he's he keeps everything so like tight. And you go to his house, everything's organized and clean, and then just to see him cut loose like that, I was like, dude, this side of Tom is fun, man. I like this side of Tom.
It's fun, Tom.
Yeah, it's fun.
Man, that was actually the first time I ever met Tom in person, and it's funny. You said the same thing about Greg Passwaters, but I felt the same way with Zach and Tom and all. I'm just like. And even Sean, that's the first time I met him in person. It's like,
yeah,
I feel like I've known him forever. It's hugs. It's nothing but love. And,
yeah,
we're busting each other's balls. Like we've known each other personally for years and years. But, this is the first time we ever met in person. So,
yeah.
Man, I love the crew up there. It's such a good community. The officers of the club are great. People up there are just great. I love going to the Jersey meet.
Yeah, it's a good time. And then people were mad at us because we talk about the Jersey meet on the show. And people were like, when they had to rearrange the tables, people were like blaming it on us. Why is there so many people here?
Yeah, no, I had people say they said it's thanks to you guys we had so many people here. And speaking of that, dude, like we sold the crap out of some Sporting Chance merch, man. We got some people were showing the love for the Sporting Chance there.
Dude, and then I put my wife on the booth. She loves that stuff. I put my wife on the little booth because we got a booth. So now like Jersey is so big that now they have like vendors. And so as soon as I found that out, I reached out to Brittany and I said, "All right, we're definitely getting a table." And we were going to do other stuff too, but I don't think there's enough time in the day to do the other stuff, Aaron. We were going to do like stories in the lobby and have people come up and tell their best story. And it's just a lot. Like it's so much.
Yeah, we brought the recording equipment. We were planning on talking to more people, and it's just too much because our focus is hawking. We're not.
Yeah.
We're not there to record. We're there to hawk and hopefully record later. But if it's a choice between hunting and recording, I'm going to hunt.
Yeah, exactly. This is not the what's that other podcast called? The tree talking time.
Brush talking.
Yeah, whatever that was, where he wanted me to go back to the hotel at like 2:00 in the afternoon at the Jersey meet to do a recording. I'm like, yeah, I could do a recording with you at 7:00.
It's just different world from the type of hunting he's used to in his defense, right?
Yeah, or I'll just go to a coon hunting event, and when he's out in the field with his dog,
yeah,
I'll say,
11 o'clock at night.
11:30. Come back to the banquet location. I want to do a recording with you. And then when you don't come, I'm going to get offended. I'm like, all right, bro. Like, but I think next year. I mean, I got a month left here. Well, York is pretty much closed, but in Jersey, we got a month left. What we should do, Aaron, and we should plan for it next year, is doing like a podcast where we're like in the field hawking, but we're talking and interviewing.
Yeah.
And everybody's mic'd up.
Yeah, it'd be the worst audio ever.
No, we'll like trim it like when it gets stupid and crazy, but like when there's like a dull moment when the dogs are working, we could talk and ask questions. It could be good.
It'd be like a NPR segment with like leaves crunching underfoot or something.
Exactly. It'd be nice. A little change. People might like it.
Yeah.
Who knows?
All right.
Yeah, it's good. I think we covered everything, right? What else? Do we need to cover anything else?
I think we're good. Thank you, Ben, for coming on, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We all hope Tom's alive.
Tom's okay with his beagle.
Yeah, I'm sure he got her back.